to kind of be in a movie. You know, when you're doing it with a sort of like greater goal at hand, that you're like, you know, hopefully, of course, this is going to entertain people, but hopefully as well, it can really, really kind of like, you know, change someone's life.
You were in Beyonce's latest Ivy Park campaign. I mean, was that a pinch me moment for you? How did that come about?
100%. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where you get the email and you're just like, this surely is not, this is like some sort of phishing scam or something, like, you know what I mean? I'm about to get hacked.
I think you and Taylor, it's time for that collab to happen as well.
I mean, I've been waiting. Everyone knows how much I love her.
I run a support group. We'd be happy to have you. I don't even know if I have HIV.
My name's Esther. I'm also waiting. I saw that.
Would you like the prize?
Know if it's one of those donuts.
Well, congratulations on this film. I thought you were so brilliant in it. And, you know, I did see you in Boy Erased. But in this, you know, it was amazing to kind of see you balance that humor with a story that's so ridden in anxiety. What was it like for you as an actor to kind of read that on the page and kind of bring it to life?
Well, so that was kind of the thing that attracted me to the movie in the first place was, you know, it's discussing a really important topic, but it's doing it in a really accessible way. And I think that, you know, if we are trying to reach people with this message, what better way to do it than through a movie that is like a genuinely good time to watch? And
right.
Yeah, that was kind of what drew me in originally. But then it was tough, you know, because it's like you're reading this scene on paper and thinking, God, that must be such an intense moment for Caleb. And then we show up on set and be reminded like, okay, well, remember, let's make this funny now. And it's like, wait, what? How are we supposed to do that? And so it's this real push and pull kind of, and I'm so happy because I feel like we ended up kind of striking this really unique tone that's like somewhere in the middle, you know?
The one thing that struck me was, you know, in the movie, Caleb is watching The Real World San Francisco with Pedro Zamora. And it got me thinking, like 28 years later, Pedro is still one of the few people that kind of educated the public on HIV, and still there's so little we know about the disease. So I was curious if that's another thing that drew you to this project, that, you know, you'd be able to inform audiences, but also it just gave a different depiction of HIV too.
Completely. You know, I think we've all seen a bunch of HIV/AIDS media in the past, you know, like film or TV or books. And the majority of them are, of course, these really, really heavy, tragic stories, because that's what the stories were, you know, that was the reality of the situation. And I think now, you know, because we were also traumatized by what HIV/AIDS was, there was this, you know, like stigma and shame and you know, nervousness around talking about it. And the truth is we've made massive strides since then. And HIV looks completely different today than it did back then. And so, you know, the message of the movie ultimately is no matter what, Caleb is going to be okay, because, you know, with access to healthcare,
right,
people with HIV live long, healthy, happy, you know, lives. And so that is, I mean, that's like, it's a medical miracle. And I'm just so happy that we're here. And I wanted to kind of, you know, educate people about that, but also just like celebrate that in this movie that feels really joyous, you know?
I could fire you.
I can't lose this job. I need the minimum wage that you pay me.
Do you ever like wonder what you would do if the test came back?
No, I try not to.
You've been part of these movies that are, I don't know, really important for queer representation. What does that mean to you to be a part of and kind of being part of that narrative?
I mean, it's such a huge motivation, like point of motivation for me. I think, you know, it's like, for me, obviously, it's really fun to go into the studio and write like a pop song for writing a pop song's sake, or it would be really fun to be in a movie just to kind of be in a movie. But then, you know, when you're doing it with a sort of like greater goal at hand, that you're like, you know, hopefully, of course, this is going to entertain people, but hopefully as well, it can really, really kind of like, you know, change someone's life, or, you know, they see themselves on the screen for the first time, or they learn something, and maybe this movie gets somebody somewhere to start taking PrEP because they learn about PrEP or whatever, you know, that would be amazing. And so it's always a big pull for me.
It's so amazing that you get to be part of these projects and then also get us out dancing to your music. And speaking of music, this film features some new music from you. So how would you describe this next era of Troye Sivan?
Well, so the fun thing was about this is normally that's exactly what I'm worried about. I'm like, what is the next era going to be? What does it sound like? What am I going to say and whatever? Whereas here, I felt like I went into the studio like as Caleb, you know what I mean? I was trying to really, really get inside his head. I wrote these songs specifically for the movie, and I was like, what would he be listening to? What kind of sounds would he want to use? What would he want to say? And so I wrote these two songs like from his perspective, you know?
Is that kind of the approach you're taking outside of music from this movie, like just with whatever you're working on next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having so much fun at the moment. For the first time, really trying to balance music and acting, and kind of taking acting seriously, you know, really for the first time is something that I want to pursue in my life as well. So yeah, I'm having a really good time.
Listen, I can't talk to you today without talking about the fact that you were in Beyonce's latest Ivy Park campaign. I mean, was that a pinch me moment for you? How did that come about?
100%. It was, yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where you get the email and you're just like, this surely is not, this can't, this is like some sort of phishing scam or something, like, you know what I mean? I'm about to get hacked.
You thought you were getting catfished by Beyonce?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I did it, I just had the greatest time. It was so fun. And my mum and dad were actually visiting me in LA at the time, so they came to set with me. And my mum has politely asked for some of the clothes that I was wearing. So we'll see if they end up sending that to us. We'll see.
I love it. You look so fierce in the look, by the way.
Thank you.
Ivy Park suits you. And talk about inclusivity, right? I mean, there's so many diverse faces on that campaign.
Totally. I mean, yeah, I think fashion is changing in such a necessary way that it just kind of is starting to actually reflect the world. You know what I mean? And I love, you know, fantasy and everything, and to kind of like have that fantasy be available to everyone is so nice.
Absolutely. So your next acting gig, correct me if I'm wrong, but you joined the cast of the weekend show The Idol, right, on HBO? Yeah. What can you tell us about the project, and what are you most looking forward to?
I can't really tell you much about the project because we're still filming it. That's probably like all I can really say is that we're filming it right now. And I'm having literally the best time. So I'm really, really enjoying myself. And yeah, I feel like I've got a day job for the first time in my life. I go to the same place every day. It's like 10 minutes away from my house. See the same people, my co-workers, you know, and it's awesome.
Clocking in, clocking out.
I sign in and I sign out and I do the whole thing. Yeah, it's great.
I know you can't tell us much and we don't know much about this project, but what's like one word you would use to describe it?
You
have to be careful, I know.
Yeah, I've got to be so careful. You know what? I'm going to say one word to describe my experience.
Okay.
Which is that, what's a good word for it? I'm having the best time is what I want to say, but I don't know how to.
Maybe the best. Maybe
the best.
It's the best.
There it is.
So with music, any more collabs we can look forward to? Because, you know, besides Tate McRae, there was also, 1999 with Charlie. What are you working on next? Who do you want to work with next?
No, I don't really know who I want to work with next. I definitely think that there'll be, another collaboration soon because I just love doing them. And then my goal is after I finish on The Idol, I want to get into the studio and make an album. It's been so long since Bloom, my last album. I think it came out in 2018. So
wow, yeah,
it's been a really, really, really long time and been like too long. So I need to actually, I really want to make one. So that's my next thing.
Okay, so then the album and then more acting,
that would be really nice. Like I said, I'm just like loving it.
I love it. I loved in the movie at one point your character says, "F you for making me like Taylor Swift." I think you and Taylor, it's time for that collab to happen as well.
I mean, I've been waiting. Everyone knows how much I love her, so I don't need to say it again. But yeah, I just think she's like an absolute genius songwriter and business person, and like truly an icon. So I will drop everything and anything to do that.